Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about why this Ethereum pump could be the biggest bullish indicator for a lot of smart contract blockchains, especially the ones that are running decentralized exchanges. Of course, a lot of you know that I dabble in DeFi on a number of different exchanges, whether it be Uniswap, Pancake Swap, or even P-Swap currently. And really, I see this as the future of decentralized finance, being able to provide liquidity. This is exactly what Celsius does, for example, lending out our deposits to entities like Binance. So ultimately, you can do this all by yourself and make a yield off the trading pairs. Before we get into the specifics, go ahead and give me a like. It really helps share this content out. Let me know what your favorite altcoins are that I talked about below. So just as a little bit of a definition for what liquidity pools and staking are. So essentially what I do is I provide liquidity one-to-one of two different tokens, and that gets put onto a decentralized exchange. So normally if you're on Binance, Binance is fronting that capital for everyone to trade with. But instead, Uniswap and other decentralized exchanges need capital so people can trade on these pairs. And essentially that's provided by the users of the services. So we would put up our collateral, stake that as LP tokens, and people would trade with that as the market goes up and down. And we get a certain amount of a fee depending on what protocol we're using. And that is basically the barest bones explanation that I can give. And I'll admit, even my understanding of it is a little bit surface level. But let's go ahead and look at the Ethereum chart and discuss why I think Ethereum could be signaling the start of a BNB run, and furthermore, possibly Polkadot and other DeFi tokens. Ethereum has obviously made that long run up, and even after the capitulation yesterday, and we see that here, even after this capitulation, Ethereum has definitely still run up and maintained its course. So there's obviously no concern of where Ethereum's going to go. I think the market is just rebounding pretty well. And I think a lot of what happened yesterday was more in terms of because legacy markets dropped at the same time, people taking profits, and the narrative ultimately goes a little bit bearish from there. But there is a reason why you should be extremely bullish on a lot of altcoins, especially Binance Token, Polkadot, Cardano, and a bunch of others. Exactly what happened back in this area here. So we're going to be discussing down here. So this is the start of January 1st. So Ethereum did pump in January. It pumped all the way until the 9th and then maybe leveled off, but still held and continued upwards for a good amount of time. And ultimately it made 170% of a gain in this time. Now, if you'll remember, if you were around during this time, the big thing that was in the narrative at that point were ETH gas fees. Even now, you can expect that ETH gas fees are again at some all-time high numbers because of the ETH price. So what happened specifically in this zone? This zone here where it's really high, everyone's onboarding, everyone's buying Ethereum, everyone's using ETH, everyone's using Uniswap and getting familiar with DeFi and dipping their toes into the system. But what actually happened to a lot of those people? Well, I would say that a lot of those people realized that the ETH gas fee was just a little bit too much to stomach, which is exactly the camp that I'm in. And until we get an update with Ethereum or ETH 2.0, we're going to have these same gas fee issues. So why do I bring up Ethereum when we're talking about BNB, Polkadot, and Cardano? Let's take a look at the BNB chart. So very interesting, you'll notice that BNB didn't start pumping until February 6th, just about in the middle of Ethereum's pump. And that's interesting. Why would that be? Could it possibly be because of Pancake Swap and the cheap fees and the BSC? Obviously, the BSC had launched at this point, so you can kind of attribute some of the bullish indicators there for the BSC, but I would say a lot of it was due to narrative of people not wanting to pay the ridiculous gas fees that you would pay on Uniswap. Even now, I'm being restricted on a lot of the things that I can do because paying $140 isn't really feasible when you're only moving maybe a few $100s over or even $1,000. You know, taking a 14% cut out of that, that's pretty dramatic. But you can see here that BNB went on a tear and went up 381% during this point. And of course, it leveled off and chilled out for a bit. Now you can see that it also eventually followed Ethereum's gain and moved up to the upside. And it looks like it's going to continue that uptrend. But personally, I'm in the camp of saying that BNB at this point can really hit some crazy numbers in the near term future, because we see gas fees again hitting these record highs. We see more and more people entering Ethereum and entering the DeFi space. And more people are recognizing you can make a yield with your crypto. So people are going to be looking for cheap alternatives to Uniswap, maybe not as great of products, but cheaper nonetheless. It all comes down to sustainability, and it's not sustainable for people just entering the market to pay these huge gas fees. So what am I proposing? I'm saying that I think because Ethereum has pumped, even if Ethereum does continue to pump, which we saw that back in its pump here, even though it still pumped, BNB went on a tear. Now I can expect that the tear is probably going to be a lot less than what it was, just because we don't have the incredible FOMO from the BSC. But at the same time, it could still be pretty fantastic. It could even be to the same degree that we saw Ethereum, because of how much money could enter the system from the Ethereum runoff. So as Ethereum pushes all of this funds, all of this money, all of this liquidity into the crypto space, more people are going to recognize that they can use their crypto to earn a yield on P-Swap and other decentralized exchanges. In terms of decentralized exchanges, we've discussed some of them and we've looked at a couple. So one, a lot of you and most of you should be familiar with is Uniswap. And right now it is a little bit not viable to use Uniswap for me. I did move all my Zor over to the Polkaswap network and the Zora network. So I did shift everything over, and I got lucky enough to do it at a point where the gas fees were only roughly $40. But still, that's a lot to move over my money, right? But that being said, Uniswap does have the best pair selection out there, hands down. Maybe the next up Ethereum DEX that you could use is maybe Sushi. But I would say that Uniswap has the majority of the volume, liquidity, and everything on the Ethereum network. And even here, you can see that Uniswap took in approximately $800 million worth of trades in the last 24 hours. So there's definitely a lot of money moving through Uniswap, being provided as liquidity and everything else. Next up is Pancake Swap. We've talked about this numerous times. I think it's a fantastic DEX, and this is the reason why I think Binance Coin is going to pump. Because when I select something, when I commit a transfer here, and I'll hit here and I'll harvest some cake. I know you guys can't see that because unfortunately it's a security issue and it won't show my wallet. But the fee is extremely low compared to Uniswap. So you just pay a couple of cents instead of, 30, 40, maybe even $100. So there we go. We're going to harvest our cake and we're going to redeploy it back into a pool. So again, going down to the pool, and we're going to be providing this cake to get staked. And again, we pay another fee. And this is very important when you're talking about DeFi. Everything that you do is going to cost you some sort of network fee. So it really is important that the tokenomics are going to be friendly to people entering the space. You don't want to be wasting all of your new hard-earned crypto money on fees, essentially. And there you go. You see that our funds are now staked and added to our cake compound. Now, just a thing about cake here, everything in this pool specifically restakes automatically. So I don't need to restake anything here. All the rewards go right back into the pool. But what I am staking is what's called farming. So this is, again, what we discussed before about liquidity pools and tokens. So to give you an example, the two farms that I'm providing liquidity for is Cake and BNB and Reef and BNB. So I have both my Cake and my Reef earning on top of being with my BNB. Now with LP tokens, how it works is essentially it always tries to keep a one-to-one value. So if one price goes up and another price goes down, you will see a shift in value, so you won't have the exact number of tokens at the end of the day. But that's why you want to provide liquidity on things that are not so risky, and you'd risk one tanking and the other one skyrocketing, because in that case you would be left with a very bad situation in terms of the amount. But LP tokens are going to try to keep a one-to-one ratio between the cryptos. That way, everything is equal within the trading pool. And again, I only understand this at a surface level, so please do your own research. But the yields here, the APRs that you see, which 64% and 83% seem high, but we're getting that yield off of the fees being transacted between the tokens. So every time a token is traded on, say, Binance or something, you're always paying some sort of slippage fee. That's exactly what these decentralized exchanges do, and they pay that out to the people that are providing the liquidity. So it works exactly like a centralized exchange, just us providing the money. So I'm obviously super bullish on BNB, where BNB is going to go, especially with the P-Swap DEX and everything else. And we know that the market capitalization for the P-Swap DEX has been doing very, very well. But what else is out there? And that's important to know. There's a couple of DEXs. There's going to be a couple of ETH DEXs. There's going to be a couple of Polkadot DEXs. And there's for sure going to be a couple of Cardano DEXs. The one DEX that I'm most bullish on right now with Polkadot is the P-Swap DEX. I'd say it has the most hype. And this is as well to buy your P-Swap tokens. You would have to go to this decentralized exchange. Now here you have to set up your Polkadot wallet. And if you have tokens on the Ethereum network, you do have to bridge them over. Now, a quick note about bridging. I am going to put out a full tutorial on P-Swap because I've been playing around and done some recording. But one thing that I've noticed, a friend of mine had some issues where 2 of his transactions had failed. I've had some problems with my VPN lately, so I've had it shut off. We had tried to troubleshoot, couldn't find the issue, and eventually I had told him to shut off his VPN, and he did, and the transaction went out without an issue. So I would recommend, if you are having trouble, I would definitely turn off the VPN, or irregardless, I just turn off your VPN because he ended up paying a gas fee for a transaction that didn't go through, so better safe than sorry. Now, a good thing to note, when you are transferring from the Ethereum network to the Sora network, it could take upwards to a day, even longer. I've heard of reports even longer. But roughly on average for me, my transactions ended up settling within 40 minutes. So I know my experience is a little bit better, but I would probably say if you are having issues, maybe check and see if it's a VPN issue and then try the transaction. And the same thing with Polkadot and the P-Swap DEX is you could provide liquidity on trading pairs to earn a yield after that. So you can see right here that I am providing ZOR and P-Swap tokens. So I have the equal amount of ZOR and P-Swap. You've seen exactly how much ZOR I bought. You saw it from the Celsius loan video, and now you've seen it here. So you can see how I'm taking both that loan and my entry into ZOR and turning a yield off of this. So I'm earning P-Swap tokens by providing liquidity. So as people trade with my tokens, I'm earning a little bit of the fee that's being distributed amongst the other liquidity providers. And I'm a very small percentage of the general pool. Now I'll go into this specifically in the guide, but I do want to show you I am earning rewards with P-Swap. All I have to do is select the P-Swap distribution and then submit the call and see what my rewards are. And you can see that right now I have 6.4 P-Swap tokens currently sitting, waiting to be put into my wallet for when I accept it. I'm probably going to wait, let this balance grow a little bit, and then bring it all in. At this point, if you're a Cardano bull, you're probably wondering, what about me? What about my DeFi? And the reality is you don't have smart contracts yet. That's why. But you are going to get them. And I am hugely bullish on where Cardano DeFi is going to go, as I'm definitely sure that BNB is going to take market capitalization from Ethereum for the Pancake swap DEX, and how Polkadot will eventually take market capitalization for the P-Swap DEX. I am equally as bullish for Cardano systems. Now, I just brought this DEX as a, here it is. This is the first Cardano blockchain DeFi platform. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the end all be all. I'm just showing it to you in case you want to know what's coming down the pipe for Cardano. So there are projects being built for Cardano. There are projects specifically working with this blockchain to make sure that we have decentralized finance for Cardano. We do know that the Alonzo update is coming. And once it does, we have smart contracts on the blockchain, which makes decentralized exchanges like this possible. So Sunday Swap is an example of what we could see for Cardano DeFi. And for sure, when this is launched and when Cardano DeFi is actually live, at that point, it's going to be a hugely bullish frenzy to buy ADA. So if you're buying ADA now, just recognize that you're buying it before the DeFi run. And I do think that the DeFi run on all of these coins are going to pump these coins to heights that we can't even imagine at this point. I think the run for DeFi, especially where we see Ethereum pumping, I think the run for DeFi is going to be incredible because we see all of this capital, all of this money coming in for a lot of people that maybe don't have the money to pay these fees. That yes, as much as there is a huge institutional money backing the Ethereum pump, I would probably guess that a good portion of it is individual investors like you and me. And I think for most individual investors, we're probably looking for a better solution, cheaper fees, faster decentralized exchange. And of course, ETH 2.0 is going to bring that, but ETH 2.0 isn't out yet, and there's other things to take market capitalization while we still have the time. So let's finish off this video with a little bit of a recap for the crypto market, because obviously we had a little bit of a tumble yesterday and everything's rebounded pretty well. I did want to talk about a few buying opportunities that I took advantage of, one being KSM. I did buy KSM under that line, and again, I've discussed this so many times that, you know, the $400 mark, if we see KSM under $400, that's a steal. So again, I bought more KSM down at this level. I also bought DOT reluctantly. I know for me it's hard to buy DOT, but I think DOT's going to boom. I think DOT's incredibly undervalued at this point because it hasn't really moved as dramatically as other altcoins have in its current climate. So I think as BNB moves, I think DOT's going to move incredibly fast, and especially as the P-Swap DEX starts to build up more of a community and more user bases using the decentralized exchange. So I'm hugely bullish on where DOT's going to go. We have the auctions right around the corner. So it's a lot of the same sentiment that we see with Cardano. And Cardano is an absolute truck, reaching back almost to those numbers that we were at before. Now, I do think at this point, it is realistic that Cardano is going to trade level for the time being, but I would probably say that that's only going to take maybe a couple of days, if not a few weeks. I definitely think at this point, Cardano is going to make another leg up in short order. And the reason why I say that is because for shorter consolidation periods, typically it only goes up a little bit, but for longer consolidation periods like here, it goes up at a lot greater of a percentage. So I think at this point, it is realistic to think that Cardano is going to continue its leg up, but I would say picking up Cardano before DeFi and before Cardano DeFi is going to be incredibly useful for you. And as well, when you want to provide liquidity to the exchanges or whatever you want to do with Cardano, it's going to be incredibly bullish when all of that comes live, and especially when DeFi has a backing already. But I do think Cardano is going to suck up a good amount of the market cap once it's actually live. That's it for me, everybody. Hopefully this video finds you well. I hope you guys are all as equally as bullish on DeFi as me. Obviously, it's one of my passive income streams in terms of making an income with cryptocurrency is actively using DeFi strategies and providing liquidity on a number of different exchanges. That's it for me, everybody. Hopefully this video finds you well. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. Comment down below which token you're most bullish on. And of course, happy hodling.